Hey, yo, it's your boy Richard Allen. You now tuned into the Richard Allen Show. So I got some breaking news. Now, before I go into the breaking news that I want to talk about, happy Thanksgiving. Um, I'm full as hell. I don't know about y'all. I'm full as hell. I had a lot of stuff and a lot of turkey and all that good stuff, right? Now, let's go right into the breaking news. So it says Trump announces death of National Guard member shot in DC. So Donald J. Trump announces death of National Guard member in DC. So um I don't fully know the details. That's why I hopped on live. Let's find out what happened. Now, this happened in Washington, DC. Now, we all know the National Guard. Trump, you know, he put the National Guard in Cali, DC, you name it, like a lot of different cities, right? Now, this is going to be the question. Does Donald Trump have blood on his hands? Now I'm going to go I'm going to let's go right into the story here. So does Donald Trump have blood on his hands? Because he made these decisions to put these National Guards out there. Now let's find out what happened. I don't want to. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. So, like I said, he made these decisions.
The incredible members of the U.S. military, and to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Before we begin, I want to express the anguish and the horror of our entire nation at the terrorist attack yesterday in our nation's capital, in which a savage monster gunned down two service members in the West Virginia National Guard who were deployed as part of the D.C. task force, which has done such an incredible job. I mean, until yesterday, we literally had no incidents for many months. It was the safest place imaginable, and this is a different kind of crime. This is a really bad crime. Millions of Americans are praying for those heroes and their families, and I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. That's horrible. As you know, the other young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life, and hopefully we'll get better news with respect to him. And the monster that did this is also in serious condition. But we won't even talk about him. As you may know, DHS has confirmed that the suspect is an Afghan national flown here by the previous administration, who was such a bad administration. And I have a picture of a plane. This is what it looked like when they came in. It was total bedlam. Do you remember that?
Yo, so when somebody new dies, the last thing you want to do is talk about the last administrations. The last thing you want to do is make it politics. Obviously, you're in politics. You're Donald Trump. You're the president, but you're blaming the last administration for a decision that you just made. You know what I'm saying? Don't even bring them up. Is what I'm trying to say. Why even bring the last administration up? You know what I mean? Because the last administration and this administration, y'all all have blood on your hands. You got super blood on your hands. Obama, Trump, Obama, your mama, everybody. You got blood on your hands. You know what I mean?
Period of time, total bedlam. People crammed onto the plane. And the toughest, meanest, most capable physically got on the plane, not the people that we were looking for or that they wanted to bring in. Here's a picture for you. Just take a look at that plane. Standing on top of each other and sitting on top of each other. This is what we had under the Biden administration. That whole thing should have never, ever happened. They should have left from a different base. They should have left from.
See, he tried to escape accountability. And see, this is why, yo, most of these politicians pretty much are going to burn in hell. So most of these politicians are going to burn in hell. I don't care what party you like, Democrat, whatever, Republican. A young lady just died, and this dude is trying to escape accountability by talking about the last two administrations.
Bagram, as you know, and it would have
I'm
been
gonna
much different.
rewind a little bit. So
They
you,
should have left from a different base. They should have left from Bagram, as you know, and it would have been a much different.
I'm gonna go back
Top
a
of
little
each
bit.
other and sitting on
Look
top
how
of
this
each other.
dude,
This is what,
yo,
or that they wanted to bring in. Here's a picture for you. Just to remember that period of time. Total
yo, look how this dude is trying to escape accountability.
bedlam. People crammed onto the plane. And the toughest, meanest, most capable physically got on the plane, not the people that we were looking for or that they wanted to bring in. Here's a picture for you. Just take a look at that plane. Standing on top of each other and sitting on top of each other. This is what we had under the Biden administration. That whole thing should have never, ever happened. They should have left from a different base. They should have left from Bagram, as you know, and it would have been a much different story. But they didn't do that, and this was just a rout, just a terrible situation. This heinous atrocity reminds us that we have no greater national security priority than ensuring that we have full control over the people that enter and remain in our country. For the most part, we don't want them. They come in illegally, have a lot of problems. Their countries force them in because their countries are smart. They don't want them. Let's give them to the Americans to take care of. They come out of jails in many cases, mental institutions, they're gang members, they're drug dealers. We don't want them. Many of the service members on this call today are engaged in crucial aspects of that mission. And to each and every one of you, I just want to thank you so much. Incredible people. You make this sacrifice like few others understand. A lot of them don't even understand it. And you're keeping America safe and free. Our military is strong. My first term, I rebuilt our military, all aspects of our military. And in
bro, you got blood on your hands right now, today, Thanksgiving. You got blood on your hands.
Afghanistan, we actually gave up a big chunk, but relatively, as much as it seemed like it's small compared to what we bought and to what we have.
So, yo, I just played this video. This dude is trying to escape accountability, like Batman jumping off a building. You know what I mean? Now, if you just tuning in, like, you know, if you a Trump fan or you a Democrat or Republican, I don't like none of y'all. I don't like Democrats or Republicans. Everybody is just a human being. Every president has blood on their hands. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about the latest blood on his hands now. You know what I mean? So we're not going to now it's just crazy. Somebody just literally died, and this guy is trying to escape accountability, which to me, every politician does this. They want to talk about the last administration, the last person in office. It's always blaming on the last person in office when you're making the decisions now. So let's see. Now he's saying that this was an Afghan nationalist, but let me see something.
And this is being fed. This is the people that do this they tend to be on the left. They'd love to say millions of people came in through Trump, and they actually said nobody came. Even I find that hard to believe, but they literally are saying nobody came in. And I hope people appreciate the job that you've done.
Two National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. They're still in the hospital, and federal officials have identified the suspect as an Afghan national who came to the U.S. in 2021. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
The victims of yesterday's shooting, now identified as 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Andrew Wolf.
So these are the victims right here, right? The one guy's still in the hospital, and the young lady right there is dead. So if you're just joining in, these are the National Guard. It's crazy. Like, this is our military being taken out in the United States. They were right in DC, and this nationalists took both of these National Guard members out in Washington, D.C. Now, like I said, leave a comment below. We know the answer to this question. Does Donald Trump have more blood on his hands?
Both uniformed members of the West Virginia National Guard.
These two young service members who are willing to go above and beyond and pay whatever price our nation asks of them.
The FBI is investigating the shooting as a possible act of terrorism. Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lackenwall, drove cross-country and deliberately targeted the two guardsmen as they stood outside a busy Washington, D.C. and deliberately targeted the two.
Yo, why is this dude's name Ramen Noodle? Did y'all miss that? So let's put him up on the screen, right? Now, this year, if you are not in the United States, right, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no certain group of people that commit domestic terrorism. Is every race of people does stuff like this. Black people do stuff like this. White people, Asian people, Hispanic people, every damn body, you know what I'm saying, does like terrorism and stuff like that. Now, whoever's like the president or running for governor at the time, they use everything as a political vehicle, right? So you listen to the speech and that I just played of Donald Trump escaping accountability like a new Batman movie. You ever see Batman jump off the roof? This dude he's just ducking accountability all crazy. You know what I mean? Talking about the last two administrations. Nah, bruh. You put these troops, you put these National Guards out here so they, you put them on the front line. So let's get this straight. Donald Trump, like currently, right now, you put these troops on the front line. So whatever happens to these young men and young ladies, because that's what they are. They're like in the 20s, early 30s. Whatever happens to these young men and young ladies is your responsibility. Is Donald J. Trump's responsibility right now. You can't go pointing fingers at Democrats right now. You know what I mean? Just like when Obama was in there dropping bombs on Gaddafi, you letting Gaddafi's, what happened with Omar Gaddafi, he couldn't go pointing fingers at Bush. So, all of these politicians are accountable. You know what I mean? So this is the dude right here. Now, I'm going to rewind a little bit because I could have swore they said my man's name was Ramen Noodle. So you got a dude named Ramen Noodle running down on the National Guard. So let me go back a little bit. You got a dude named Ramen Noodle running down on the National Guard. That's crazy.
Possible act of terrorism. Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lakanwal, drove cross country and
His name is Ramen Noodle Lakenwall. Yo, Trump, you got a dude named. Now, this could have happened with any president in there, right? But currently, we got a dude named Ramen Noodle Lakenwall running down on the National Guard. That's crazy. His name is literally Ramen Noodle. Now, I'm gonna ask you the question. I'm gonna leave Ramen Noodle on the screen, right? Is he chicken ramen noodle or is he beef ramen noodle? Pause. You know what I mean? So is my man chicken ramen noodle or beef ramen noodle? Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think this would have happened if now I don't know the answer to this question, but it's still going to be an interesting question. Do you think if Donald Trump, if he didn't put out the National Guard, do you think this still would have happened or not? So if Donald Trump didn't have extra National Guard presence, poking out his chest, showing that we have troops, do you think that young lady would still be alive or not? I don't know the answer to that question. And also, if he didn't put out the National Guard, would the dude right here, his name is Ramen Noodle Lakenwall. His it's literally ramen noodle. Would you think that Ramen Noodle Head right here would be trying to take out National Guard members if he didn't try to show this extra force and be poking his chest out? Sometimes you gotta kind of relax the cool. See, what Donald Trump is not good at is relaxing and letting everything cool down and handling business on the background. He doesn't know how to let his ramen noodles cool down. You know what I mean? You ever cook ramen noodles and you let them cool down a little bit before you eat them? Donald Trump doesn't know that. Doesn't know how to do that. Everything's hot. Everything he does is hot. Spontaneous, hot. You know what I mean? Right now, you're hot. Your troops are hot. The troops can't even lay low. So you got people like Ramen Noodle Head running down on our troops now. And it's really, if you really think about it, right? It's running down on the young people, because this was a young lady and a young man. So they're running down on the young people. So you got this old head that's president, Donald J. Trump, right? He's president, and you got him making spontaneous decisions, making the whole block hot. Now you got Ramen Noodle Head right here. Dude's name is literally Ramen Noodle Lakenwall. Ramen Noodle Lakenwall. Running down on the troops that Donald Trump made hot. So if you want to look at street terms, Donald Trump made the block hot. And then you got this dude named Ramen Noodle running down on people. Let me see what this dude is saying. Is this planned to everyone to shave their heads? Bro, what are you talking about? Let's get serious. Don't come on my live with no bullshit. I'm talking about the Ramen Noodle Head right there. So dude's name is literally Ramen Noodle right there, right? So let me play a little bit more. I'm gonna go back, because if you just tuned in, you probably not gonna believe me that this dude's name is Ramen Noodle that just took this lady out.
Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lakanwal, drove cross-country and
His name is
deliberately
Ramen
targeted the
Noodle.
two guardsmen as they stood outside.
Yo, his name is Ramen fucking Noodle. Yo, I said I wasn't gonna curse on my show. His name is Ramen Noodle.
Drove cross-country and deliberately.
And pay whatever price our nation asks of them.
The FBI is investigating the shooting as a possible act of terrorism. Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lakanwal, drove
His name is
cross-country
Ramen
and
Noodle.
deliberately targeted the two guardsmen as they stood outside a busy Washington, D.C. metro station.
One guardsman is struck, goes down, and then the shooter leans over and strikes the guardsman again.
Bro, Donald Trump, you put these troops out there so they're hot. Everybody can see them, right? The block is hot. Now you got dudes named Ramen Noodle running down on the troops. That's what happened. Yo, this is crazy.
Whatever price our nation asks of them.
The FBI is investigating the shooting as a possible act of terrorism. Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lakanwal, drove
Noodle.
cross-country and deliberately targeted the two guardsmen as they stood outside a busy Washington, D.C. metro station.
One guardsman is struck, goes down,
Yo, look.
and then
Hold on. Look at the glass.
shooter
Let me go
leans
back.
over and strikes the guardsman again. Another.
Yo,
and
why,
then
why do you got the troops
one
hot
guardsman
like that
is
out in
struck.
the open? Look, yo, what?
Washington,
Hold
D.C.
up.
metro station.
One guardsman is struck.
Yo, why the troops wide open like that hot? Now listen, I'm in Philly, right? So I haven't got, and I don't think nobody really, now unless you really like been out there in DC, or nobody got a chance to look at the positioning of the troops. Like, how does he actually have these troops out? Are they riding around? Are they standing still? It looks like these troops were just ducks, just sitting there. So look at the glass on the ground. That means these troops, these National Guard members were just sitting ducks. You know what I mean? They were just sitting there or standing there with their guns. Like, you should not know where the troops are. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is crazy. It's like crazy common sense.
Goes down, and then
As they stood outside a busy Washington, D.C. metro station.
one guardsman is struck, goes down, and then the shooter leans over and strikes the guardsman again. Another guardsman is struck several times.
Lakanwal is an Afghan national who came to the United States in 2021 and lives in Bellingham, Washington. He's facing 3 counts of assault with intent to kill while armed. FBI Director Kash Patel saying search warrants were carried out overnight at the suspect's home in Washington state.
During that process, we seized numerous electronic devices to include cell phones, laptops, iPads, and other material that is being analyzed as we speak.
Officials say Lakanwal worked for the U.S.
Yo, now I'm gonna tell you something about Kash Patel, right? They came to Philly to announce this large drug bust in Philadelphia, in Kensington, right? Now, they claimed that this drug bust was going to take the drugs off the streets. They came to Philly, they poked their chests out, said we just made the biggest drug bust in history and all of that. Yo, I just rode through that area. It's the same amount of crackheads still out there. I don't believe nothing I don't believe nothing these politicians have to say. I just drove down Kensington Avenue yesterday, yo. It's the same amount of crackheads that it was before Kash Patel got there. You know what I mean? You got some drug dealers out. You made a large bust, but they got the work is still right back out there. Stupid. Which I don't blame them. You know what I mean? You got to take the drugs off the streets. We're not saying they shouldn't try to take the drugs off the streets, but the way they poke their chests out and act like they can stop it by themselves is wild. You know what I mean?
U.S. government in Afghanistan for a decade, including the CIA, working as a member of a partner force there. Sources telling ABC News he was a trusted member of his unit. Lachenwall's 2021 entry into the U.S. was likely part of a Biden administration program that evacuated and resettled tens of thousands of Afghans. Lachenwall applied for asylum in 2024 and was granted it in April 2025 under the Trump administration, according to 3 law enforcement sources.
Any Afghan that worked with the U.S. military or CIA that comes to the United States is heavily vetted to get their special immigrant visa status and, of course, to come to the United States.
President Trump has now ordered a re-examination of all Afghan immigrants who were admitted here into the United States during the Biden administration. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
And we've been streaming all.
Yo, if you just tuning in, this Afghan dude, this ramen noodle head, right? So this ramen noodle head that just killed the National Guard members, right? This dude's name literally is Ramen Noodle. If you don't believe me, I'm going to play it one more time. My man's name is literally Ramen Noodle.
Investigating the shooting as a possible act of terrorism. Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lachenwall, drove cross-country and deliberately targeted the 2 guardsmen as they stood out.
This dude's name is literally Ramen motherfucking Noodle. I said I wasn't going to curse on my show. His name is Ramen Noodle. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know. This is the point that I want to make on my show, right? All of these every politician, right? Whether it be like a Democrat or Republican. Let me put Ramen Noodle head on the screen real quick. Hold up. Let me put this Ramen Noodle head up on the screen. And yo, this is not the race blaming show either. So if you tuning in, right, and you got this dude's nationality, listen, this year it's been terror has been every color: black, white, brown, tan, whatever. Terror has been coming in every color this year. So listen, this Ramen Noodle head right here just went to DC and took out the young lady, National Guard member, right? Now, condolences to her family. I don't want to make light of her situation, right? Now, Donald Trump's giving his speech. And to me, when you're announcing that somebody is dead, you want to take yourself out of the politics box for 2 seconds. So Donald Trump is announcing that this young lady died, right? She got killed. She didn't die. She got killed by this Ramen Noodle head right here, right? And instead of just giving condolences to the family, he goes back and blames the prior administrations for letting this dude come in the country. When this year alone, just on my show alone, I've been reporting on domestic people born in the United States doing crime. So it's not a blame game of politics, oh, you let these people come in and all of that. What about the dudes that were born here doing stuff? You know what I mean? So you really can't trust none of these politicians is what I'm trying to say. So all of y'all dudes on the left, all you Democrats or Republicans, and you trying to take side, listen, politicians are little kids trying to win show and tell. They're going to tell you what you want to hear to win the pizza party. I don't trust no politician. I don't know how y'all can 100% put your hands, 100% put your life in any politician's hands without questioning them. You know what I mean? Without question. Because a lot of y'all, a lot of y'all follow Democrats without question, and you follow Republicans without question. So a lot of y'all are without question. You don't question anything they do, never. That's spooky to me. That's really spooky to me that you don't never question any Democrat, never question any Republican. You know what I mean? Where to me, both of them, I don't know what your faith is. I'm Christian, right? Both parties are really against Christianity. Both parties. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't want to, you do the research. You know what I'm talking about. Both parties are both Christianity. We can find check marks where both parties are really against my religion. You know what I mean? So how can I fully trust any president at any time? And that's the basis of my show. It's the Richard Allen Show, right? Now, back to this ramen noodle head. This ramen noodle head want to go take out these National Guard members. Now, somehow, some way, these National Guard members should be barricaded behind some type of bulletproof glass. They shouldn't just be out in the street, just out in the open. You know what I mean? Because if we go to another country to fight a war, you're not going to be just standing out in the open with a gun. So now that we know that no National Guard member is safe just on the streets. Now, and this happened in Washington, D.C. So no National Guard member is safe on these streets, just like no regular United States citizen is safe on these streets. Now that we know that, is there blood on Trump's hands? To me, this just put blood on Trump's hands, because if you didn't have these National Guard members out there, this incident, this guy wouldn't have been able to get to them. You put them out there, you made them more accessible. So I'll repeat that again. Donald Trump made a decision to put these National Guard members out there, so you made them more accessible. And if you go back to the video, they ran down on these National Guard members at a damn bus stop. Let me go back. They were at a damn bus stop, yo. Why the hell are they standing at a bus stop? Like, just, I'm not going to blame. I can't, they shouldn't be out here at a bus stop. Let me find a picture. Well, you can look behind this picture right here. So look behind this picture right here. I'm gonna enlarge this. They're standing at a bus stop. This is just a bus stop. So this dude ran down on these National Guard members at the transportation center in DC at a bus stop. Why are they out in the open? Now, this is the National Guard out in the open. These are not police officers. This is the National Guard out in the open. Why are they out in the open? Like, nobody's invincible. You know what I mean? So I don't understand it. You know that this year alone there's been attacks on the White House. So why wouldn't National Guard members get attacked if the White House has been attacked? Why are they out in the open? You know what I mean? I think a lot of these politicians, lawmakers, they're so smart they're dumb, right? Why would you have the National Guard members just out in the open like that? Like, those guns are not going to stop oncoming fire. You know what I mean? So he's got blood on his hands in DC. So Donald Trump has got blood on his hands in DC. Now, you notice how symbolic that a lot of this stuff is. This happened right in DC where you are. You got blood on your hands in your backyard, right? You refurbishing the White House. Now you got to refurbish the graveyard. You got blood on your hands right in DC, right there. You know what I mean? They sent Cash Patel to Philly. I'm in Philly. They sent Cash Patel to Philly to clean up the drugs. The fiends are right back on the same block. Cash Patel, listen, they rounded up who they rounded up, and they locked up them, and they poked their chests out saying they made a major drug bust. Philly is a reset button. Somebody hit the reset button out there. The fiends is right back out there. That listen, it's been drugs on that block since before the 50s. You think somebody named Cash Patel is gonna stop that drugs out there? So, and I say that to say, obviously they should try to get the drugs off the streets, but you don't stop giving false hope. Stop acting like you just the person that ended drugs in Philadelphia. That's like, bro, be realistic. You know what I mean? All of those people that have, and I'm talking about Cash Patel, right? It's a lot of people that have different programs in Philadelphia for drugs. Support the people who really, dealing with the people on drugs and try to get them off drugs. Support those people. Don't act like you just came here and made some drug bust and got the drugs off the streets. Now, back to this ramen noodle head. So you just joining in. This is the guy on my screen that just took out the 2 National Guard members. One died, one young lady died, and one is in like critical condition. Now, allegedly, this dude is in critical condition. I don't know how the hell he's still alive. Why is this ramen noodle head still alive? His name is literally Ramen Noodle. If you don't believe me, rewind my show and watch it. Now, this is your boy Richard Allen. I just know this just happened, and we listened to Donald Trump's speech. To me, he's going back. Instead of saying like, listen, we got to make sure the troops are more safe out here. Instead of coming up with a strategy, Donald Trump didn't come up with a strategy. He blamed prior administrations. Meanwhile, somebody died today. You see what I'm saying? So he's definitely got Thanksgiving blood on his hands in this turkey. You know what I mean? So listen, this is your boy Richard Allen. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you look on the bottom of the screen, look on the bottom of the screen right there. I said stream. Look on the bottom of my screen right there. It's Richard Allen Show _. And that's on X, formerly known as Twitter, IG, and TikTok. So it's Richard A Show _. Follow me. I want to talk about these topics. If you want to talk about this topic, let me know. I could drop a link and we could talk about some of this stuff that's going on. If you just tuning in now, the dude on the screen, his name is literally Ramen Noodle. This is the dude that just took out the 2 National Guard members right for Thanksgiving and put more blood on Donald Trump's hands. So right now, Donald Trump, he's got blood on his hands like he's been smacking Kool-Aid. You see what I'm saying? So Donald Trump, he's got blood on his hands like he's been smacking the Kool-Aid. Straight up. It's your boy Richard Allen. I'm out.